So typically my content is based off of my own experience being the spouse of someone with schizoaffective disorder, but today I'm going to focus more on overdose because today is Overdose Awareness Day. I'm inspired by a few things. First of all, Psychotic in Seattle is one of my favorite content creators in the community because I've learned so much from her. She just shares so much information, and this month she's been doing a lot on overdose awareness. So I'm going to put her little taggy tag in the bottom there. If you haven't checked her out, please check her out. But also, the main reason why I'm inspired to do something today for Overdose Awareness Day is because I actually am personally affected by it, as my younger brother passed away 5 years ago today of an overdose. So between family members and friends, I've actually been dealing with loved ones with severe mental illnesses my whole life. So being married to somebody with schizoaffective disorder is not too new. And honestly, since those with mental disorders are at an increased risk for opiate overdoses, I'm not deviating too far from my usual content. So anyway, getting into it, meet Dylan. Dylan is my younger brother. He is 9 years younger than me, and we lived our whole life living separate. He's in Canada, and I was in California. And he lived to be 27 years old. Things seemed to get a bit more intense for Dylan after our dad passed away in 2011 of alcoholism. My dad had been self-medicating with alcohol for pretty much his whole life for his depression. And even though at the very end he did try and get sober and he was clean off alcohol for a couple of months, his body just couldn't handle it anymore and he passed away. My brother also suffered from mental illness, and I'm not sure exactly what he was diagnosed with. When I asked him, he said that he was trying to get on government assistance and he was just telling them what they wanted to hear, and they diagnosed him with the most severe thing they could come up with, and I brushed it off. I didn't think much of it. But he definitely suffered for something that definitely came with psychosis, I can tell you that. But no, he was definitely suffering from mental illness. And when my husband first was getting symptoms for his schizoaffective disorder, him and Dylan had some very interesting conversations online. And something I actually think about often is my last night that I was out there visiting. I was visiting my mom and my stepdad. I was with my daughter, and Dylan had come out for the week. He lived 3 hours away, and he took a bus to come out and visit while I was visiting. But like I said, he was annoying me by constantly passing out and running off, and I just didn't feel like he was spending enough time with me. So the last day, we went out to dinner, and Dylan was passed out in the basement, and my mom was like, well, should we wake him up? And I'm like, no, he could sleep. We brought him home some food, but still, I really wish now that he was there. So anyway, that was the last day that I saw him. That next day, I grabbed him and said, okay, we need to take some pictures. I'm about to leave. So me and him and my daughter all took some pictures together. They were like silly ones, and I really didn't think it would be the last time I'd ever take pictures with him. So months went by, and I just talked to him regular through text. The last conversation I had was about his son. He has a son, and he was just trying to get his life together to be a dad to him. And I was lecturing him on court stuff and to be more active and blah, blah, blah. Then a few weeks later, I got a different text. Really early in the morning, one morning, I got a text from my sister in Canada and said that she wanted to talk to me, and I already knew something bad. Here's a weird part. I was pouring a bowl of Frosted Flakes. It wasn't for me, it was for my daughter. Not that I don't love Frosted Flakes, and I actually hadn't bought Frosted Flakes in a long time. And I had remembered that the last time I had Frosted Flakes was when I was pouring a bowl for myself when my mom called me to tell me that my dad had died. So same thing. At that time, I was like, she's calling me for something bad. I'm going to finish my breakfast first because I know I might as well just finish my breakfast before I call them back. So I poured her cereal and I went to the other room and I called my sister and I got the worst news, that Dylan was gone. Of course, we didn't have that much information, but from the little information that we did know, it was kind of obvious how he passed away, but we wouldn't know for sure until I got the call from the medical examiner with his toxicology report that he had died of fentanyl overdose. So who knows what happened that night? Did he know what he was doing? Did he care? Who knows? I think he was just being reckless and just did whatever he could do to make himself feel however he wanted to feel that day. So here we are. It's August 31st. It's Overdose Awareness Day, and it's the day that my brother passed away of an overdose. And that's my story. My loved one with mental illness who passed away on Overdose Awareness Day 5 years ago today.
It is. Hi, Sarah. Yeah, that's Sarah. Yeah, that's Sarah. Hello.